So this is the movie Ava DuVernay decided to do instead of directing Black Panther. Not a great plan. I'm John Hayeck and welcome to my movie thoughts. A Wrinkle in Time. So this is a new movie, again, it's directed by Ava DuVernay, who directed Selma. She got a lot of critical acclaim for that. She decided to choose this as her next project. Kind of a more cerebral, higher budgeted movie because she proved herself with the littler, more independent films that got critical acclaim. Now she's going to try to get critical acclaim with a bigger, more high budgeted Disney brand property. And did it work? We'll get to that in a little bit. Basically, the premise of this movie is you have a girl named Meg, her younger brother named Charles Wallace. Their father disappeared 4 years before the start of this movie when he was trying to prove that the universe can be connected through quantum physics and belief in, stuff. And if you find the right frequency, you can travel basically anywhere in the universe you want at any given time. And they are basically trying to find out if he was successful in this, if he actually is still out there somewhere in the universe. And they get the help of 3 fairy women played by Oprah, Reese Witherspoon, and Mindy Kaling to help them find where their father might be, and if he did succeed at this experiment. That's basically the premise of the movie as I understood it, but I would tell you guys this. I think this movie is so poorly edited, so hollow, and so inconsistent in terms of how it actually perceives reality that it boggled my mind trying to piece this entire thing together. I checked out so many times throughout this movie, I need to recheck myself back in like a bad hotel manager, and I was like, I know that I followed what was going on before this, but it makes no sense still. Let me do this. The first thing I will say in this movie that I did enjoy was the actors. I think that the young kids in the main roles were pretty decent. The girl in the movie that was the lead, her name is Storm something, I'm forgetting her last name. She, I think, has a good career ahead of her in Hollywood. I'm sure that, she worked really closely with Ava DuVernay. Maybe she'll be in Ava's next project, which I think is going to be New Gods at DC or something like that. But I do think she has the potential to work with more big directors, kind of hone her talents and everything. The younger brother, too, he's still super young. I think he's only like 8 or 9 years old or something like that in real life. So he's got plenty of years to work on his craft as well. I think that the young actors really did give it their all. They did have fun with their roles, and they did really try to commit to what they were doing. The older actors in the movie, like Chris Pine, I thought was pretty good. I thought Gugu Mbatha-Raw was really good. Reese Witherspoon, Mindy Kaling, and Oprah I thought were horrible. That's a different story. I think that it felt like they were in kind of a different movie. They were just these kind of like cartoony little like fairy fate women, and I was like, I feel like I understand we're going for kind of like a mystical fantasy vibe, but I feel like you guys are just kind of coming out of nowhere. They disappear and reappear at random times. They just kind of like speak kind of like it's a Shakespearean performance, or just kind of like they're trying too hard to be funny, and it felt very awkward. So again, I love those 3 ladies as actresses, but I really thought that they just did not work, and their roles did not work in the context of this movie whatsoever. I do think that the other big positive of this movie is the directing was pretty decent. I think that a lot of the shots you see Ava DuVernay compose, her and with the director of photography of the movie, really made sure that a lot of the images stick with you in your mind. Not just the visual effects either, just seeing like some characters kind of like stand close by each other, or just seeing kind of like where some characters are positioned relative to other characters, seeing what the shot captures and how that might be important to shots down the line was really interesting. But besides that, I do think this movie is a train wreck in a lot of other things. The editing, first of all, is horrifically bad. There were some scenes where there's this scene where the main girl in the movie and her possible love interest are walking down this alley, and they're walking this way, I'm walking towards the camera and everything like that. And then it cuts to this girl who's over here and looking down at them and everything, but the shot doesn't really match because it looks like she's watching them from behind, but they then see her as if they're looking straight ahead of them. So you're like, wait a second, I feel like that's sloppy editing. There's other stuff where shots just jump from one place in time to another place in time, and it's supposed to be part of the cerebral imagery that the movie's presenting to you, but it just makes you feel really, really weirdly out of place, and you have no clue what's going on in the movie whatsoever. Which is another issue, is that the movie is very cerebral, and it's trying to be very fantastical and very sci-fi-ish, but in doing so, you just lose a lot of the audience. Again, I checked in and out a lot of times throughout this movie, because they were just kind of moving from place to place so quickly, and the forests are appearing, and then these houses are being built and everything, and I'm like, is this the Tree of Life? I thought that movie was okay for the message it was trying to spew out, but I think that this movie is just trying way too hard to be ambitious and not focusing on telling an actual story, which is my next issue. The script in this movie is garbage. I don't know who wrote it. If Ava DuVernay wrote it, I'm sorry. You directed the movie, okay, but the writing is horrendously bad. The dialogue, first of all, you can tell was written by, you feel like they turned in the first draft of the script to this movie, and then nobody proofread it, and they just kind of said oh yeah, we got Ava on board. She's totally gonna make a good movie anyway, so who cares if the script is good or not. One of the first scenes in the movie you see is this girl gets into the principal's office, and the principal's you're misbehaving, you're acting out, and she's well, I've really just, since my father disappeared a few years ago, I've just been like having a difficult time and everything. And the principal says, your father is gone, you need to get over that. And I'm like, if a principal says that to a kid nowadays, that principal is getting fired. The mom is going to the school board is firing the principal, and the principal is never going to work again. And that's, I know how kids nowadays operate. The kid that tells their mom that the mom is going to get the principal fired, and the mom, like, doesn't care at all in this case. Like, the mom should be sticking up for the kid. If somebody insults you when your parent leaves your family, that person should not be commended. That person should not be rewarded. That person should not be apologized to. You should recognize that that person is toxic. It's one of those things where I'm like, man, this, again, it feels like it's bad writing. Or another script inconsistency. When they introduce Reese Witherspoon's character, she shows up to their house, like, really late at night, and then the mom just says, like, who are you? Like, the 6-year-old kid in the movie, the character in the movie is, like, hugging this, like, strange woman and everything and saying, like, hey, Mrs. What's up and everything. And then the mom's like, hey, come over here, Charles Wallace. You shouldn't talk to her. And I'm like, you should be calling the police. What are you doing? Like, this, again, it just boggled my mind how completely poorly written the entire movie was. And I thought that the theme they were going for at the end just really did not pan out at all. And that goes into my final complaint with the film, is that it's really, really hollow. The characters don't really stand for that much, and the theme doesn't stand for that much either. The characters in the movie are going on this quest because they're supposed to, find their father and everything, but the movie never makes clear for you why they care so much about finding their father. Yes, their father left, I'm sure that was a very traumatic experience for them and everything, especially for the girl who, was kind of close to their father and stuff, but you never really see them being close. You never see why she cares about her father so deeply. You don't have, like, these flashbacks of the two of them, like, working on science fair projects together and stuff, or, like, them making jokes and stuff. And that's why I felt like kind of this emotional catharsis when you see the mom and dad together, because you have flashbacks and they have a history established and everything. But with the daughter and father, she's basically trying to find him because the script tells her she needs to. You don't see a reason of why she would want to or why she would need to. As much as she knows, her father was in her life for a little bit of it at the beginning, and now he's gone. And if she goes to find him, then that's a cool little quest, but, like, we as an audience want to know why. We want to get behind this character somehow, and we just don't get a chance to, because, again, the script doesn't flesh it out. And for a theme, by the end of the movie, you're supposed to have this theme of, like, be who you are, and go out and do the things you never thought you could. But again, you're like, why is that the theme of the movie? Like, the entire point of the movie was them trying to find their father in this mystical space landscape and everything, with weird, trippy imagery going on the entire time. You never once get the vibe it's trying to tell you to go out there and be yourself. I didn't get that vibe when I walked out of it. There was one cliche line at the end where, like, the romantic interest kid who was also on this adventure with them, he's like, you know what? I'm gonna go tell my dad some stuff that I should have told him a long time ago. And I'm like, why are you saying this? You weren't that big of a role in this, and you didn't have a single motivating factor to make you go do that. Again, the writing boggled my mind and how inconsistent it was and how hollow it was. I really think this is a poorly written film, guys. I think that the directing is okay, the acting is decent, and I think that the overall gist of the movie is that it's not something you're really going to remember all that much. I think it takes some risks in how bold its visuals are, but I do think the editing really undercuts it and how jarring and just unsettling it is. By the end of this movie, you think, oh yeah, that was creative, and again, the keyword ambitious, but it just felt like it didn't stand for anything to me, and it felt like one of those movies that I'm going to walk out of thinking, yeah, that was basically the worst version of Stephen King's The Dark Tower from last year, and the slightly better version of Jupiter Ascending from a few years ago. So guys, I'm going to wind up giving The Wrinkle in Time, or A Wrinkle in Time, I'm going to wind up giving A Wrinkle in Time a D+. Let me know if you guys checked out this movie. I can see if you might like it here or there, but I'd be curious to hear all your opinions in the comment section down below. You guys can also go over to mymoviethoughts.com, follow me on Twitter at JohnMHayeck, and subscribe to this YouTube channel for tons more posts from me as well. Links to all three of those are in the description down below. You guys can like this video, comment on it, share it with some friends. I am John Hayeck, and as always, thank you guys so much for watching. Also, I think for the thumbnail of this video, I'm going to do something weird, because this movie's so weird, I might as well. Like, why not, right?